pounding these out every single week does help my research and does make me able to talk about it more. Clearly the picks were not the greatest this year. You had a lot of second place finishes. A lot of second place finishes this year.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
We've reached the conclusion of the research show on the Pat Mayo experience for the 2025 golf season. This is it. Had a lot of fun doing these research shows, and especially now that we've moved over to the rabbit hole, I'm learning a lot with you guys to do this, but I wanted to do one more because this isn't going to be a fun week in terms of watching golf is going to be fine. Betting on golf is going to suck. DraftKings golf, we're not even doing a Wednesday show with Tambo. I might have a special golf show for Wednesday, but it's not going to be DK. I hate this 30-man no-cut event. No thanks for DraftKings. I won all my money in the first 6 weeks of the year on DraftKings, and I think I've lost like 90% of weeks from there on out. Maybe this is the exact kind of goober tournament that I need to get myself back on track, but that's just not going to be the case for me. I'll enjoy myself at Napa when golf returns in like 3 weeks' time. It's going to be an absolute stud field because everyone, minus Bryson, from the U.S. Ryder Cup team is going to be playing over there. But some good sweats here to end the BMW Championship in Denmark and Live. Like, there's 3 good tournaments going on right now. It does appear, although it has not concluded yet, that Rasmus Højgaard will probably get that final European Ryder Cup spot. It felt like there was 11 locked in, and then that last spot, I mean, it was the 11 from last time, and then that last spot was teetering between Rasmus and Nikolai. You can make the case for Harry Hull. I saw there was some internet buzz about him, but if you're going to have the DP World Tour champion from last year and he wins the final event going into it, plus he had a very good Open Championship run, it's probably going to be Rasmus as the final man on the team. So it'll be the exact same team from Italy minus Nikolai, adding Rasmus Højgaard to the mix, and that will end up doing that. So I'll be back with Jeff live tomorrow. We'll talk about all the final Ryder Cup stuff like we do. It's Jeff's favorite topic. You should just have a Ryder Cup show at this point because that's the only thing that's really intriguing him about the PGA Tour right now. Although we do have some fun topics for that show. I won't get too much into it because I do want to talk about Eastlake. A few things before we start. Rabbit Hole is available now. So betspertsgolf.com/Mayo. If you get the annual this week, you'll get Eastlake through Eastlake. So you may as well do that if you're going to jump over to the Rabbit Hole. And you'll get the fantasy football package at 4for4.com for $1 if you end up doing that. There's the Sharp Stack app, which is like a new betting tool that they've launched, like EV tool, arbitrage, like all that fun stuff. But it'll show you the best player props, the best spreads, and the best money lines for every sport. It's going to be very expensive when the season ends up starting, but it's free until August 20th. So I believe that's Wednesday. You can go check that out, use it. All you have to do is just sign up for 4for4. You don't have to pay anything, just 4for4.com/signups. Just give it a test run. I've been having a lot of success with it. I mentioned I had a ton of underdog success with it for WNBA over the course of the summer. That was fantastic. It didn't make up for all of the golf losses, but it made up for a good majority of the golf losses. I wouldn't give to hit a fucking winner. Wouldn't it be nice to have a winner on the betting card at some point? I mean, you guys probably do, but it's been a while for me. I got the guy in 3rd and 4th going into Sunday at the BMW. Unfortunately, Ludwig or Burns is going to have to shoot like a 61. And that means that Scotty and Bobby Mack also can't have a fantastic time. Beware of Bobby Mack at any par 70. This used to be a Sungjae thing, but now it's a Bobby Mack thing. He won Scotland last year. That was a par 70. The Canadian Open at Hamilton was a par 70. And again, they moved the Caves Valley from a 72 to a 70. All of a sudden, here's Bobby Mack. He gained 5.5 strokes Thursday on the back 9 through putting alone. So if he just has a bad putting day, we'll see how that ends up going for him. So hopefully Ludwig can do what he did at Torrey Pines for the Genesis and absolutely storm the top of the leaderboard, just go unconscious and make a ton of birdies. Wouldn't that be nice, Ludwig? It'd be fantastic. He's actually kind of fitting the profile of the guy that you would probably want at Eastlake, just trending upwards every single week throughout the course of the playoffs. But, I mean, there's a pretty obvious comp course, I think, for Eastlake at this moment in time, especially after last year's redesign. But more on that in a second. Some field notes. It's going to be top 30. I don't know who the 30 players are. I know who 25 of the players are. I don't know the last 5, because I'm recording this on a Sunday before the 4th round starts, and there's a lot of movement that might happen. It's actually kind of intriguing to look at. Lowry can't really fall out, but there's 4 guys at the bottom. You got Bridgman, Bhatia, Michael Kim, and Sung Jae are all projected in to Eastlake. And that's really important, especially for my main. I really hope Michael Kim can get it done. He's right now, inside the top 10. Ricky Fowler is just outside of the FedEx Cup standings. He's currently T8. If he moves up to T6, I believe that he ends up in. But Goddard, Fowler, Pendrith, and Glover and Kitayama are the 5 on the outside looking in. One huge move up the leaderboard, and they're probably there. Sung Jae, I suppose he's in second. He's in third to last right now at the BMW Championship. So it's unlikely that he falls out because, frankly, it really can't get any worse for him at this moment. Got to face my main man, a guy I bet on this week, Johnny Vegas and Ryan Fox down at the bottom. Good picks, Pat. Thanks for those ones. The top picks are doing well. The bottom picks are just terrible. And it's not like I was the only one who was on Vegas and Fox. It made a ton of sense. They just sucked this week. But Michael Kim, if he falls back at all, he is going to be out. But what you get for the Tour Championship this time around, you get Masters, Open Championship, and PGA Championship and Players automatic berths next year. You're already in all the signature events because of this, and you lock up your tour card for 2 years. If you get inside the top 30, plus you get into the Century, although I think all of the top 50 in the FedEx Cup get into the Century as well because it's like a faux signature event, or it is. I don't even know what it is at this point. Who cares? But it's really important to get inside that top 30. It unlocks mostly everything besides the U.S. Open becomes unlocked to you. And that tour card for Michael Kim is going to be huge. It'd be huge for Bridgman as well, though. Yeah, Bridgman didn't get the win. It was Highsmith who got the win at the Cognizant. So it'd be huge for him. And even on the outside, get Ricky back into all of these majors. That's what they're looking for. We're going to have some fun with redesigning the Tour Championship and talking about match play. I saw that match play was a big talking point this weekend. I gave out my thoughts on X. I'll talk through it with Jeff, but it's of my opinion. It's not that I didn't like the Dell match play. I don't care. I'll watch some match play. I'll bet on some match play. In fact, I hit a bunch of winners at match play. I kind of wish it would come back, but let's not pretend like anyone cares just because it's match play. Match play means the most, and you're seeing this over the weekend with the USAM when there's actual stakes. To give the U.S. Amateur Championship winner, that is a match play tournament. The Ryder Cup, there's no financial stakes on the line, but it's probably the most pride tournament that there is of the year. And even, frankly, in the President's Cup, no one cares. But for the Ryder Cup, match play is just awesome for that type of format. It means something. If you have a tournament that doesn't mean anything, then no one is going to care about match play because as you get through it, it gets progressively worse to watch on TV, where you just have one guy taking on another guy for either 18 or 36 holes towards the end. You ever, you've played golf, when you're stuck you're just walking to a shot? Well, let's say that's not you walking to the shot. It's someone watching you walk to a shot. Not the most compelling television. So it's going to bomb in the rankings. That's why you can't make the Tour Championship, because no one cares about the Tour Championship. If there were real stakes on the line at the Tour Championship, you could have it as match play. But just converting this to match play, it's not going to do you any good. It'd be like a gimmick maybe for 1 year. People are like, oh, that's super intriguing. Then people would complain about it. The format doesn't matter for the Tour Championship. The problem is no one cares about the Tour Championship. At best, and this is being very generous, it's something I don't even believe. It is the 6th most important tournament of the year. You have the 4 majors, you have the Players, and then you have the Tour Championship, but we really don't because, hell, Riviera is more important, Bay Hill, Memorial. There's a whole slew of tournaments that are way more important that people perceive as more important. For the Players, you win $10 million for winning. That's awesome. I would say that the St. Jude is bigger than the Tour Championship. At least you have 70 guys. A 30-person field just sucks. One thing they have done is they've gotten rid of the starting strokes this time around. They made that change earlier this year, so whoever wins at Eastlake this week wins the FedEx Cup. So it's like it used to be pre-2018, 2019, whenever the hell they switched it over. It was a failure, the starting strokes. There's something to that, because now, I don't know why I mentioned before, I don't know why any of these guys played in the St. Jude or played in the BMW Championship. If you're Scotty, you're trying to help out the tour and get them ratings and going to these locations. I get that part of it. But I was shocked Rory even came back for the BMW. He was second in the standings. What are they going to keep him out of Eastlake? No, unless you mandate that they have to play, you're probably going to see at some point these top 10 guys be like, screw it. I'm already into Eastlake. There is no advantage for me moving up in the FedEx Cup anymore because it's only a 72-hole stroke tournament. Whoever wins, wins. So let's say Ricky Fowler sneaks in at number 30 in the FedEx Cup. If he just wins at Eastlake and Scotty comes second, well, Ricky Fowler is the Eastlake champion. He's the FedEx Cup champion. He gets the $10 million, not Scotty. Despite Scotty having all of the FedEx Cup points, it doesn't matter anymore. So I don't know what the answer is. I'm not going to pretend that I can shit on it as much as I want, but I don't really have a solution. I'll try to talk through some more. I thought the match play thing would be fun if you did like 36 holes of stroke play and then cut it down to 8. But even that, again, after kind of thinking through match play, it does get boring to watch. But maybe that's the way to do it, but you'd want some way to protect the top names, at least the TV networks would, to make sure that you get that interest. Anyway, it's above my pay grade when it comes down to figuring this out. If you have any suggestions, dump them in the comment section. I'd love to hear it. I'm trying to think about what I want to bet on this week. We're going to do the research. If you guys are into doing DraftKings this week, or maybe top 10 bets are probably the way to go in a 30-man field. But like, I might just dump on Tommy this week and be like, you know what? This would make the most sense for Tommy Fleetwood. He'll win a 30-person event when like no one is watching, when the rules change. Somehow he's the FedEx Cup champion. People will call it an illegitimate win. He's not a real champion. But that makes the most sense going into this, for me, at least, that we think about it. Although the Euro Ryder Cup team is starting to look pretty good. Rose wins. Bobby Mack. I mean, Scotty's his biggest competition. You're going to probably get Bobby Mack or Scotty winning the BMW. It's good. It's coming down to the stretch here. Ludwig is into the mix. Maybe Burns played himself onto the team. It seems like Goddard played himself completely off of any sort of contention. Not that he was a lock to make the team, but that spot that was kind of between him, Kitayama, Cam Young, Burns, it now seems like it's Cam Young, maybe Burns. We'll see how that ends up going, depending on whether or not Keegan ends up picking himself. It does lock after this week, so that's a way to look at it. I want to take a look at the course. We're going to do an overview of it, and there's no like good version of this that I was able to find on the internet, so I have to use like Golf Clash as the flyover. So check it out. What do we got here for Eastlake? It was redesigned last year. Before the 2024 event, the course was completely rebuilt from the ground up with turf grass conversions, new bunker placement, and stream reclamation. I sure. That sounds great. Better water for the course. It's almost 7,500 yards now, playing as a par 71. Bermuda Green Zoysia fairways, just like it was at the St. Jude a few weeks back. Very difficult to hit fairways. It's a big driver off the tee box course, so it's going to just line up like it did in Memphis, honestly. Like a lot of the guys that played well in Memphis are going to play well, or at least will have the same skill set to play well at Eastlake. So if you just want to run back your St. Jude bottle, that might be the way to go. The average green size is bigger than it is at Memphis, so it's almost 2,000 square feet bigger, 6,200 square feet per average. Green size, 78 bunkers, 8 holes with waters in play. You can check out the newsletter. I'll have all that information of what was actually changed. Last year, 7 of the par 4s measure over 450 yards. The best players in the field on par 4s in that range over the past 24 rounds, Sam Burns, number 1, Cam Young, Scotty Scheffler, Shane Lowry, and Tommy Ladd, Tommy Fleetwood. They've been the top players in that range, so maybe that's a spot to look at. And that's over the past 24 rounds, if you're looking for anything like that. 78 bunkers, 8 water hazards, around the grounds. Players hit the fairway on approximately 61% of their drives on the average course on the PGA Tour. That number dips to 56% at Eastlake, and the driver usage has gone up each of the past 5 years. It topped out at 86% after the renovation a year ago, which is kind of crazy to think about. You just don't really get that many driver off the tee at a course that it's funny because so long, being a Donald Ross original design that with a renovation from Reese Jones, that you'd think for years, like just a lot of guys that did well at the Wyndham did really well here, and they were both Donald Ross courses. It's not that they were short, but they really do lean accuracy. You want to be long because the holes are long themselves, but you need to be able to keep it in the short grass, and that's why you just kept coming back to Southwind. That's exactly what you need to do at Southwind. Same, not all the fairways, I believe, at Southwind were Zoysia, but most of them were, especially around the green area after their redesign. Let's just hop over to the rabbit hole. BetspertsGolf.com/Mayo. Oh, there's also not a one and done. This was the last week of the one and done at the BMW Championship, but Survivor. I got the link down in the description right now. We didn't get the $250. We didn't get the $1 million guarantee. They were a bit pensive for year one, but if you guys show out and get in right now, we will get that $1 million payday for next year. There's $500,000 guaranteed in the prize pool for the NFL Survivor one and done right now. It's at Splash. Highly recommend that you get in it. It's $50 per entry to get in it. It is a 150 max. I wanted a 250 max of 6 entries, but hey, here we are. They want to ensure that it fills this time around. I think there's already 200 spots gone in it already, but the earlier you can get in, the better it is for us next year for NFL Survivor to end up getting that $1 million payday. So if you're going to play in Survivor, just go get your entries in right now. Just hit the description. You can find the link down in there. All right, here's what we're looking at. Tour Championship. This is from BetspertsGolf.com/Mayo. Get the annual. Get yourself the $1 fantasy football package. Zoysia fairways. Rough is Bermuda grass still. Driver heavy off the tee. Off the tee is like average. Finding the fairway is difficult, and missing the fairway penalty is high. The rough penalty is high. Everything else about this course, kind of easy, except for the exceptionally fast greens. Those Bermuda greens run as some of the fastest. 12.5 on the stimp. That's fast. It's not the fast. I think Augusta probably runs the fastest. But for like a regular PGA Tour event, this is it. A few player notes as well. There's no word whether or not Ted Scott's going to be back for Scotty Scheffler this week on the bag. He seems to be doing fine with Chris Kirk's caddy at the BMW Championship. And Seb Straka, after missing the BMW Championship, is expected to play. It's not a lock that he's going to play, but he is expected to play this week. Avoiding 3 putts, super easy. Par 3, super difficult. Par 5, super easy. Sand easy. Putting easy from inside 15 feet. SG putting, very easy. So despite the fact that they're super fast greens, very easy to roll. They roll true. That's what these guys like. So if you can get yourself clean off the tee, everything else is going to be pretty easy. Strokes gained approach is easy. Green and regulations average. Around the green is average. Like, you can't have a bad week with your irons and expect to do well. But at the same time, it's not as difficult as a lot of like marksman type courses. You can see everything going through. Again, it's only 30 guys. So here we go. So off the tee. The driver usage for this course is 82% over 5 years, maxing out at 86 last year. Some big drives, 26% over 320 yards. Driving accuracy, 58% a year ago. Good drive percentage, just around 80%. Most of that having to do with the guys that end up hitting the fairway. More of a, the right rough tendency, just a little bit higher than the left rough tendency. But again, we're going to be looking for guys. I mean, even if we just go back and look at Southwind and take a heavier look into that of the guys that did really well off the tee, like it's a JJ Spawn, Tommy Fleet. Just look at the top of the leaderboard. It's all the guys that don't necessarily drive it a mile, but hit a ton of fairways. Like that's what we're looking for here. Approach play. Let's see, green and regulation from the fairway, and this is where it gets down to it's very penal if you end up missing the fairway here. So 83% green and regulation fairway. So easy. Hit the fairway, hit the green, not a problem. Putting's easy here. You're going to be fine. Green and regulation from the rough, lower than 50% at 47.1% with a 5-year low of 44% in 2022. You're not really hitting a ton of greens from the fairway bunkers either, but I just thought that was very interesting. Going for the green percentage, 81% dudes are going for it. Green regulation percentage of green under regulation percentage hitting the green only still 21%, still pretty good. And going for the green birdie or better, right around 69% on your approaches. Let's see, what else do we want to take a look at here? Proximity. Yeah, average shot distribution. All right, where is everything coming from here? We got very few from 50 to 125 from the fairway or rough. So I guess it's right around 20%. The total from 125 to 150, right around 20% as well. 150 to 175 total. I guess everything is actually quite balanced, honestly. Most shots will come from over 200 yards, so you need to be good with your long irons, and that accounts for the par 5s and the par 3s as well. But I talked about the longer par 4s. You're going to see some of them with over a 200-yard approach, just like we saw at number 5 at Southwind for sure. I think number 13 was this, not 13, 12 maybe? No, 12 is that short one. Maybe it was 13. seen. That you just end up with these super long approaches, even from the fairway. Like you're trying to not necessarily lay up, but you have to take a little bit of English off the ball in order to get it into the short grass to ensure that you can probably hit a green in regulation. For over a century, Johnnie Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereux Golf, Johnnie Walker introduces the Johnnie Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, blue label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnniewalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly. Look, I don't bounce back exactly the way that I used to when I was 20 years old, and it used to be I can either have a great night or just have a struggle the next day. That is until I found pre-alcohol. The ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic Drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle the rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for the rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly and you'll feel the best tomorrow. The final days of summer are here for you to enjoy. Whether you're heading to the beach, camping in the woods, or squeezing one last vacation road trip, do not forget to bring ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic Drink. Drink a pre-alcohol before drinking and enjoy every day of summer to the fullest. Go to zbiotics.com/PatMayo to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use PatMayo at checkout. ZBiotics is packed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, head to zbiotics.com/PatMayo and use code PatMayo at checkout for 15% off. The past leaderboards are going to be a little bit different. So what you want to take then, because you had the starting stroke, so it screws everything up. So Scotty shot -20 last year, which was actually -30. We take a look at the actual strokes gained. This is the way to do it. Morikawa actually won last year. It was Colin, Sahith. What happened to that guy? Scotty Scheffler, Henley, and Adam Scott. Those were the top 5 last year at Eastlake. Then you had Sung Jae in terms of just the 72 stroke total. Obviously, Scotty won at -30, beat Morikawa by 4 shots. That doesn't really matter at this point. Although you can see Henley put on the Ritz here in round 4. Who was the best round 4 player? Henley, Sahith, Sungjae, Bob. Maybe Bob, if he doesn't end up getting it closed. Maybe he'll end up just piling through and doing fantastic. He was 10th off the tee last year. So Hovland won the year before that at -27, but he also was the best player, I believe. No, Xander was the best player. Most strokes gained total was Xander Schauffele by 1 over Victor Hovland in that event. Wyndham Clark, Colin Morikawa, Sam Burns did pretty well. Cantlay, who won the 2 years before that. Rory won at -17. He was the best player in the field that week. Beat Sungjae, Max Homa, Justin Thomas, and Tom Hoagie. A lot of it, again, is just a lot of recent form coming into the event. Guys that pick up momentum in the playoffs, that's the way that it really ends up going. Cantlay was not the best. I believe Kevin Na was. I hit him to win low 72. Yeah, Kevin Na, John Rahm, I believe that they tied or they were super close. Let's see here. If we just go to total. Oh, Neiman was terrible. Neiman ended up playing by himself. I forget who withdrew that year, but he played in like 1 hour and 45 minutes. Yeah, Na and Rahm tied in the without starting strokes market. That's what happened that year. Xander just kills this course. Although Xander's not really killing anything besides my DraftKings teams this week. Cantlay ended up winning the overall. Thomas, you see Hovland was up there. So guys, it's a lot. I mean, there's motivation that goes into it, which might get turned around this time that anyone and everyone starting at 0, or even par when the tournament begins, that anyone can win the FedEx Cup. That just wasn't the case. When you're starting 10 strokes behind Scotty Scheffler, chances are that you're not going to catch up to him, although Scheffler's never won, or yes, he won last year. No, who's the last player to win back-to-back? I guess Tiger may have done it at some point in time, but over the past 10 years, no one has won back-to-back FedEx Cups. Rory has won 10 or 3 times in the past 10 years, though. So that's what we're looking at from that end of everything. So jump over to the rabbit hole again, betspertsgolf.com/Mayo to get yourself 20% off. You get the annual today. You can get a $1 fantasy football package for the year if that's what you're looking for. And you can take a look at the Sharp Stack tool if you're new to 4for4, 4for4.com/signup. Use it for free until the 20th of August. Then it's going to be $800 after. Although if you use 4for4.com/Mayo, you can get it for $600 for the year. But it's all sports and it's a betting tool. You can use it for underdog in any of the pick'em games as well. You can take whatever sites that you have legal in your state or area and just highlight those, and it'll give you the best EV odds and the worst EV odds. It has a Kelly tool, arbitrage tool, so depending on what you want to use it for, it's pretty good. So we got the Tour Championship field displayed. I'm going to turn that back to the BMW field because it doesn't account for guys that are on the bubble that might play themselves, and it just gave the top 30 because that's how the API feed works that we get. So it's easier to look at it this way, like Michael Kim's in it this way. Maybe Fowler gets in. We can use the view the expert rankings. You can see where's the Mayo Cave. Simple. How's this doing anyway? I just kind of want to load this up to see how it's doing. Let's see. Scheffler, Cam Young, stupid got her up. Sam Burns, JJ Spawn, Ludwig. So not bad actually. The only guy that's really missing here is the guy that's winning the tournament. You know, if that would be nice to have every now and then. Where is Robert? Robert McIntyre was 19th. So not like a complete disaster. But his off the tee and his putting has just been so much better than everyone else's this week. I want to go back to my Southwind one, though. St. Jude 2 by Pat Mayo. Cam Young ended up doing well. Scheffler obviously ended up doing well. Spawn ended up coming in second. The only real miss, I think, was Rose, who obviously, again, ended up winning. But hey, he was not. Whoever the hell is 19th in my model this week, because Rose was 19th for that week. So I'm just going to kind of pull this one up. As you can see, I used like off the tee sort of stuff for it. We can take a look at the filters. So I used overall 100 to 150 yards in proximity. Last 3 months, overall approach proximity, and just, the golfers in the Tour Championship right now. Is that all it gave me for the Tour Championship? Yeah, I know I need to go readjust the field a little bit for that. Go back to the rabbit hole, go to BMW, and then I'll try to pull in that same one again. Let's see if that ends up working for me. No, it's just going to give me the current field for the odds. So there are some guys that will get a bit mixed around. By the time when Monday comes, it'll be completely updated. Just we obviously do not know what that's going to be yet. What did I use for off the tee here for filters? Okay, yeah. So the last 7 months off the tee, driver heavy, like it's going to be at Eastlake, and miss fairway high to average. So that's going to be the exact same that it's going to be at Eastlake. So I think this is a very decent way to look at it going in. So not that much different than what we saw. You got Scheffler, Ludwig. You have Gotterup, who is probably not going to make it at this point unless he just storms the leaderboard. Although I think he shot 6 or 7 under Sunday at Southwind to get himself back up in the standings. If he does that again, he might sneak back into the top 30. Young, Cantlay, Connors, Victor, Spawn, Fleetwood, Glover, Akshay. Akshay was first round leader there. Rory, Burns, Straka, who's 19th. Justin Rose, again. See, there we are. Justin Rose, the way you want to look at it, I suppose. Maybe Justin Rose ends up getting the job done at Eastlake. What a year that would be for Justin Rose after losing at the Masters and the sort of the near misses, winning in the FedEx Cup playoffs, then winning the FedEx Cup would just be absolutely enormous for him. But you can just, if you are a member at the Rabbit Hole and you go to the expert rankings, you can pull that one back up. And I actually liked how this one turned out, honestly. I think Ludwig is a good shout here. I think Spawn is a good shout. And I think that Tommy is a good shout. Let's take a look at how he's done over the years at the Tour Championship. Probably not winning. That I can guarantee you. And just see. Yeah, the off the tee has been really good. I mean, lost strokes around the green. The putter has been excellent for Tommy over the last little bit. Just don't get this dude in contention. And all of a sudden, we're off to the races. See, Tour Championship, 20th, T6. T16, T11, so not bad overall. I mean, he's gained strokes 3 of the 4 years that he's played in. It was a disaster a year ago, tee to green. I mean, that just basically never happens to Tommy Fleetwood overall. It was the last time he lost strokes tee to green. The U.S. Open, the only time before that was last year's Tour Championship. So he's lost, in the past 12 months, he's lost strokes tee to green twice in that span of every start that he's made on the PGA Tour that we have weighted stats for. I can't tell you what he did at the Abu Dhabi Classic, but I believe he came in second or he won, so I'm guessing he gained strokes tee to green that week. Other than that, we can just take a look at just the overall and go back to, we don't need to go to these at this point, and just take a look at who's hot coming in, honestly. We can take a look at the recent form tab. See what we got cooking over here. Justin Rose has been very, very good over that time frame. In average strokes gained per round, it is Scotty Scheffler. Shocker. Scotty, Rory, Tommy, Russell, then Ben Griffin. Could be a very good Ben Griffin course as well. You can see he's been playing some pretty good golf. I believe he's doing pretty well again at the BMW this week. Where is Ben Griffin? He's not inside the top 5, that I can tell you. Ben Griffin is T16. So Ben Griffin winning the FedEx Cup would be hilarious, by the way. But he has good form coming in. Obviously, look at his past few tournaments. JJ Spawn, kind of the same thing. Obviously, he won the U.S. Open, lost in the playoff at the St. Jude, was able to get his putter turned around. But he's the type of driver that we're looking for in this sort of event. If we just bring up driving stats, I mean, that's really what I want to be looking at here. Guys that kind of dominate in both distance and not because no one's going to be dominant in both. Let's take a look at the past 3 months worth of stats. And you can always filter this down. Like if you go to the filter by conditions, you can take a look at where is fairway accuracy, fairway penalty. Like you can just go average and high for this. That's another very just decent way to filter everyone out immediately. You do want to expand. Although past 3 months, guys have enough rounds to count here. So past 3 months with the difficulty being on of... You can see the filters. Again, where are we at here? Where's filter by conditions? Where the hell did I go here? Still getting used to this. I don't want to bookmark the page. Let's not do that. Fairways. Fairway penalty. I actually have to hit apply when I do this. That would be kind of the move. Average and high, and apply that to everyone. There we go. And we still have, over the past 3 months, we got like 26 rounds. I mean, a lot of these are average for... Honestly, when we take a look at it, there's very few that are like high miss, and you can like put it down that way if you really want to. But we can just take a look at who's gained the most strokes, and a lot of it is distance related at these courses. So Goddard, Young, McNeely, Ricky, and Scotty Scheffler are all a part of that mix. Ludwig, Spawn, Vegas is not going to be in the Tour Championship. Kitayama with a great day might be. Xander is not going to be, so we don't have to worry about him. Pendrith is on the outside looking in. So those would be sort of the guys. A lot of those guys are going to be out for this tournament. But then you got Rory, Keegan, Bobby Mack is going to be up there as well. Connor, Siwoo. Siwoo's not going to make it. He might not have his wedge or whatever the hell he smashed. He smashed like 7-iron on the ground. Came up like 20 feet short. Smash. Love it. Love you, Siwoo. Harris English. Sung Jae may or may not make it because he's number 1 in accuracy. Let's just take a look at distance and accuracy. Let's take a look at accuracy first, and then see who gets up there. Sung Jae, Morikawa, Connors. It feels to me, now I might be wrong about this, just very covertly, Morikawa is having one of his better weeks in some time. He's 3rd in approach for the week. He's 21st off the tee at the BMW, but he's bottom 10 in both putting and around the green. What a hilarious statement that would be. There's going to be all the conjecture of whether or not he should be on the team or not. If he's going to strike the ball like that, like back to Morikawa standards, then I'm all in. Like, just get him on the Ryder Cup team. If he's going to be on the Ryder Cup team anyway, but like for next week, it might be like Tommy and Morikawa to see if some of them can make some putts. Because Morikawa had a very good run here a year ago. But you can see 2nd in accuracy, 37th in distance. That's probably the route that we want to go. We want to see positive guys off the tees in this scenario. So I'm shocked Ricky is so high. If Ricky can get himself in, he needs to have a good Sunday. If he does, it's not inconceivable that he could go out and win the Tour Championship. 1st in good drive percentage, 4th in total driving, 4th off the tee, 7th in accuracy, 27th of the field of 50 at the BMW in driving distance. So average off the tee, high in accuracy. This is what we're looking for. Where the hell did JJ Spawn go? Spawn is above average in accuracy, around average in driving distance. That was sort of how he was able to unlock so much success. And then he kind of went crazy with his approach game. But he was 7th in overall off the tee on courses of this nature. So let's take a look see if we can go do that here. I guess all these guys played at Southwind. We'll see how off the tee did for guys there at the FedEx St. Jude. We'll scroll down to the bottom, and we'll go to strokes gained. and we'll take a look at off the tee. You can see off the tee for like this week, like Rose was, and this was of 70 players. No one in the top 6 was outside the top 8. Novak was the only one. I saw Novak chip in like twice in 3 holes at one point when I was there. So that's how he really made it up. Cantlay made it up with great approach play, but it wasn't huge. He was 34th off the tee, but that was all approach play for him. So all chipping for Novak, all approach play for Cantlay. The driving was bad for Novak. It was average for Cantlay. It was average for, it was above average. Kitty almost top 20. Ludwig was 5th. But when you take a look at the top, it was all guys that drove the ball all week. Because I made note in that newsletter after I watched the practice round and talked to Justin Rose about it at the hotel. He's like, mate, if you miss the fairway, you fucked. And that sounds more Australian than British. But you know what I'm saying on this, that you had to be hitting from the short grass. I mean, fuck, if JJ just could have made a putt, 45th in putting. And he was so much worse going into the final round. He made a ton in the final round. I can't complain. And he chipped in on number 1. Things went his way. He just couldn't close the deal. But his tee to green was so good for the week first. He was so much better than Scotty and Tommy and Justin Rose all week. Tee to green was kind of crazy. But you can see just top 6 on the leaderboard. All finished inside the top 10 except for Justin Rose, who was 14th and 8th in approach and 7th in putting. He just didn't have he was just so good everywhere the entire week. There's no red for him coming up. So this is the kind of week that you're going to have. Like if Cam Young doesn't chip himself out of the tournament on both, he did it on Thursday, got back into it, then did it again on Saturday, then got himself back into it. Dang, Tommy could have been better from off the greens as well, although that's not usually something for him. But off the tee, this is what we're going to be looking at. Again, like Straka was really good, just lost his approach play coming in. I don't know how he's going to be. I don't know what happened with him. I assumed it was like a death in the family for him of why he ended up missing out on the week, but that's he was up there at the St. Jude for drivings. Fowler, Ludwig, Spahn, Evier. He's not playing in the Tour Championship. Keegan, Akshay. I don't think Nat made itself in. Rose is going to be there. Harris English is going to be there. Harris English was really odd at St. Jude. He drove the ball well, finished at -1. Just nothing really went his way at all throughout the course of the entire tournament, which I found was just really, really strange. But anyway, this is the main stat that I'm going to be looking at this week. So the players, again, that I loaded up here. Where is my... Here we are. Probably not going to... So Ludwig, Tommy, Spahn are probably the rotation that I'm going to end up around for the Tour Championship. But again, all of this is going to be odds dependent. When a field of 30 is released, like it's Scotty's to win, but he's probably going to be like plus 175 to win the tournament. And if he doesn't end up closing in on Robert McIntyre at Caves Valley, I mean, that's 2 weeks in a row he hasn't won. Which means that if you bet him at plus 175 each of the past 2 weeks, which he was like plus 275 or something like that, then that you'd be down money. It's not good. I mean, I know how to pick enough losers anyway. I don't need to make one pick and lose with Scotty Scheffler. That would suck. And the money that you would have to bet to get any sort of return on it just isn't my style. If it's your style, go for it. But you could probably find a JJ Spahn first round top 10 that pays as much as Scotty Scheffler to win Eastlake. So those are the markets that you should probably be playing. Maybe that's what I'll do for Wednesday. Maybe I'll do like an actual like comprehensive betting preview for first round matchups and see if we can find some value into that. That might end up being more fun. And I think that Jeff and I will recap the season the following week after I'm away next weekend. We're going on our annual Boys Ryder Cup. I'm on Cuss team. I'm playing with them day 1, so we'll see how that ends up going. Probably poorly, because my game has now slipped back into the tank. Can't hit an iron anymore. Don't know what happened. If anyone has anything for me, maybe I'm going to go take a lesson the day before I go, and maybe I'm just standing too far away from the ball. I'm towing everything. It's leaving my club face open. I know what I'm doing, and somehow I can't stop doing it, which is the absolute worst place to be. And like, if you didn't know what was going on, at least someone can reposition you. And you're like, oh, now if I swing through it, I'm hitting the face again. Like, I feel like I know what I'm doing. I know where the miss is. And there's still nothing I can do to prevent it. It's horrible. It's a horrible feeling, especially when you start getting up to a thing that you actually do want to win. And you're going to be asked to carry your partner a lot of the time in a tournament like this when we're going into it. But anyway, betsportsgolf.com/Mayo gets you 25% off. Get the annual today. So you get 25% off with the annual, and then you'll get the fantasy football package for $1. And if you go to 4for4.com/Mayo, you'll get 25% off any of the fantasy football packages if you want to get like the betting tool, the DFS stuff. And we might have a very special announcement next week with myself, Tambo, and maybe a new guest on the show for the year. We're mixing it up this year. We're going to have a new Monday show. The show with Tambo and I isn't going anywhere. We might add a third to the mix, a very, very sharp player. So he and Tambo can like face me, like square, stupid Mayo versus two actual winners at DFS. We're just trying to do as much as possible to make sure that the product continues to get better and the show gets better. And if we just run the same stuff, listen, we can run back me, Jeff, and Tim every year. People are going to like it. Me, Rob, and Cam, that's coming back. What else can we do on the margins to make it better? Well, we're trying to find out ways to do that. So please spread the word of the Pat Mayo experience around because we're going football heavy. We've got NFC win totals this week, fantasy football update on Tuesday. So win totals is Thursday for the NFC, and then the main event is next week for the AFC. And there's a Cuss Corner in there too. Jeff, Tim, and I did a show last week as well on the best quarterbacks and coaches. That was pretty fun. It was a hinge week. Week 1 of the preseason for the Jets. I've been told that week 2 was not a hinge week, and Justin Fields is no longer the front runner for preseason MVP. This is what I've gathered from Cust so far. But please smash a like while you're here, and thanks for being a part of the research show all year. I can't wait to be back in January, but I'm not upset it's going away for 4 months, and then I can be reinvigorated and get really back into it. Pounding these out every single week does help my research and does make me able to talk about it more. Clearly, the picks were not the greatest this year. You had a lot of second place finishes. This year. But, I win half of those. I'm having like the best betting year that I've ever had. But the fact that I lost all of them, I went 2 for 17 in final groups this year with outright bets. And these weren't like Scotty Scheffler in the final group. It should have been Scotty Scheffler because he won like most of those events that I wasn't in. But just the amount of guys that I had in contention at big numbers that just completely flatlined on Sunday has never happened to me before over the course of a season. So sometimes you run bad, sometimes you run good. This was a run bad year. Hopefully next year's a run good year. We'll see about that. Anyway, thank you all for watching all year long. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo experience! Experience!